this week we will discuss how we can add multiple values from a PowerShell output into an Ivanti Identity Director table. So I created a small script that's creating an array. We're creating a variable where we resolve all the surfaces on a specific machine, and then we fill the array with the surfaces with the surface name, display name, and the status. As you noticed, I'm using the semicolon and a pipe character. Why am I using this? Because columns are separated by semicolon and a row is ended by a pipe character. As you also can see, I'm using the global option, which I discussed in tip of the week 1. So let's start with creating the first step, and that's a module. And create a new module. And let's call this one week 2 IID for Ivanti Identity Director output table. Go to the tasks, and the first is what we need to make is a PowerShell script. Well, it's recently used for week 1. Make sure that the Windows PowerShell script for the script tab is selected. Go to the script, and if we do the right mouse click, then we have insert parameters functions, and that's not what we want. So we need to do Control V, and we're good to go. As you can see, we're using the surfaces here, which is a parameter discussed in week 1. So go to Module Parameters, click on Add, and call this Surfaces. Because we don't want to have this an input during the scheduling, make sure that when scheduling job is not selected, click OK, and the module is created. Click OK and OK to store it. So the first step, creating a module with the PowerShell script, is done. Identity Director can only invoke runbooks, no modules, no projects. So the next step we have to do is add this module to a runbook. In earlier versions of automations, we needed to go to runbooks, select new, add, and search for the module or project. But now in the new release, we can go and select Create Runbook, or right mouse click Create Runbook. And now a new runbook is created with the job and the runbook parameters already added. But we are not completely finished here because there is no WHO. Why is that? Because it has a value as during runbook scheduling. This is not preferred when you use Identity Director because you want the runbook automatically executed and you don't want the system asking for a runbook. So remove this check mark, click on the WHO, and select an agent or a team. When we finished it, we go to the runbook parameters, go to the links, and now we see that the action for the new services parameter is both ways. This means that if we select the runbook in the invoke runbook workflow action, we will see it on the runbook parameters and runbook results, but I only want to have it as a result. So what I do is right mouse click, action, get final value with the arrow to the left. That means that we are moving the data from automation to Identity Director. There is also an action button here where you can basically set the same value. We can click OK, place it in the root folder for now. What I normally do is always testing the automation job without Identity Director, if that's possible. And that's what we are doing now too. Schedule job. We don't need to do the WHO. Everything is fine. So the only thing we do is execute it. The job is in the scheduling. We'll move to activity, but it's so fast because it's a short job that it's already finished in 1 second. Now we double click the job, go to jobs, select the module, and now we go to agents, select the double click the agent, double click the job and check if the module parameter is filled with the information from the services, which is correctly finished. So now we are finished on the automation side. And now we go to Identity Director. Be aware that executing and invoking runbooks from Identity Director, that you need to make sure that the integration between both products is configured. Check my other blogs if you want to know how to create the integration. So for now, we have the management portal and we have the entitlement catalog, and let's create a new service. Give it a call, week 2 IID table output. I always scroll down and make sure that this not needs to be in the delegated administration panel and not in the workspace control show with publications. Now we go to the qualification. During test purposes, make sure that everyone qualifies or only your own user ID is available so you can test it for yourself. Now we need to create a service attribute with the type table because we want to move the data from automation in a table. So click Add Attribute, call this Services, make sure that the type is table, and now we need to define columns. We have 2 values. That's the service name. Of course, this is required. And we have a service status, which is also required. Move it up. And now we have a service attribute called services. The next step in the process is creating a workflow. So now we go to the workflow. We have a delivery and a return, and we need to make sure in the trigger, delivery triggers, that people can request this service for themselves. So in the web portal, they have the option available to request the service. Now click OK, click on the plus sign here, and let's start invoke a runbook. And then we say request services. Click on the 3 dots, select your runbook, click the plus sign, make sure that it's in your selection, click OK, and after a couple of seconds the runbook results will appear. Click on the runbook results, you will see our service attribute, and now we can select the parameter, which is the one we just set the action for. So the parameter is services. And what do we want to do? Do we want to override the current service table, or do we append the data? Now, for now, I select override. And I click OK. So now we have the invoke runbook, but we want to project this to a user. So let's go on the plus sign, select a send message, and we are the requester. Let's call this new message and don't change it. And I don't give it a name either. But in the message, remove all data here and create a new placeholder. Go to the service. Services is my service attribute. And I can select the full table. I can current row, entire column. But for now, I'm selecting the full table so we can see all the data. Okay. Now we have done this, we are good. What's very important is that the delivery service for now is on Identity Director because we don't want to mail it. Maybe in the future I will show you how you can do this. So click OK, and the delivery is finished. Now during testing, I normally make sure that in the start return that the auto provisioning as soon as a service has been delivered is set. So when I'm testing a service, then I know that when I'm testing it and it's failing, or that it's not subscribed to a user, but I can reuse it because the service has been delivered and returned. So click OK. We save the full service. It's qualified to 1 user because I have only 1 user in the system. Click OK. And Now we have a surface, so we go to the Autonomo catalog. I didn't add an icon to it, so when we log into the web portal, the surface is available. What I normally do during testing is that I already click here on transactions, and when I have surfaces with an Unfold runbook, I go to the scheduling so I can check if a surface is executed. So let's click here on the plus sign to request the surfaces. He is saying that to me, and in a couple of moments my surface will start here as pending. There he is, and in automation we probably see there is my job, and it's Invoked Runbook Week 2 completed. The job invoker is the Ivanti Identity Director, and if we go back to the transaction, we will see that it's already finished. It's delivered correctly, completed in the green, and it's already returned. So now we need to see my queue where we added the message. So let's see what the read message says, and here we have the new message with the table information. And now you can see that the semicolons and the pipes are there. Okay, I agree this is not easy to read, but follow me, and in week 3 I will show you how we can make this nicer and easier to read for you. For now, I want to thank you for joining my blogs, and I really appreciate any feedback. For now, I wish you a very nice week, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you very much.